Welcome to Copper Free Sports. My name is Jericho Canning. I have my co-host Dan Bernerka here and Sean Bicken here, and we have a guest, Ron God, he's saying name. I knew I had it. Pavonis. Thank you for joining us, and
Having me.
whenever you guys are ready.
All right, so Ron, right at the start, I want to talk about. Obviously, you're went to Riverside, have great success there. Played wide receiver there. This year's team still going, state playoffs, just won the semifinals. You have a son that plays wide receiver also. Just talk about this year's team, your experience, what the whole journey's been like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a remarkable feeling as a father. Like you said, I played at Riverside, was really successful during my time there. So having my son be, a senior and making this decision his senior year to, to fulfill a journey and be part of a historic run, absolutely, third time in school history, to reach a state semifinal situation is absolutely a remarkable feeling. And just to know that my son, the fight, the adversity he had, overcoming a lot of different things, not playing football since his B team, 1 year of B team, to be out here his senior year, was there with spring with Coach Armstrong, Coach Grande, and the rest of the guys, going through a summer program, being successful. We got some great resources in Jerry Rose and Braden Rose when they came back to the team. My son Brady at that point in time, fought every practice, kept working. A lot of kids could have gave up, when they weren't starting or playing a lot. My son never gave up, through the course of, unfortunately, some injuries, part of the game. He had an opportunity then to be on the field. The stats will never show up on paper. You won't read his name in the paper very much. But being a former player, watching what he does on the field with the hustle, the effort, the maximum effort he shows on every blocking play to spring some of those key blocks for Chase and some of those other guys is very rewarding all around as a football knowledge guy and highlighted being a father.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of that stuff too, like you said, you being a former player, you can only teach them so much and show them so much. Coaching only takes you so far, but at the end of the day, there's that little thing that you have, that little extra piece you have to have.
And it's a remarkable feeling because when I transitioned myself from high school to college, each level you play, high school, I didn't come off the field. I got the ball. I was very successful. When I was at Lackawanna, there was better athletes, obviously. So for me to be on the field, luckily as a starter in my freshman year, I had to do those things. And that's like block. That was show the coaches that, because everybody there can catch the ball. Everybody can run, everybody can jump. What are you going to do in between the lines that's going to get you recognized and noticed? And specifically talking about my son, and that's what he's doing right now is he's showing maximum effort coming across the field, making those next level blocks, and that's how you stay on the football field.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, guys.
Coach, congratulations on your son and their team's success this season. I know personally, firsthand, being on the sidelines, I did a couple of first down markers with Dunmore when my son played, and I just know the Riverside culture. It's a hard hitting, fast paced, very in your face. Everybody does their job type of culture. What's it like outside of the practice and the games? Like, what's it like at home? Like, do you offer any advice, any coaching to your son?
I don't ever stop coaching. At any time, even though I'm his father, I'm not coaching officially for Riverside of any sorts like that. I do a lot of work with the kids behind the scenes in the spring and the summer. But as a dad, you never stop coaching. You're always trying to mentor. You're always trying to do something. But one thing I can say about these kids right here, highlighted with the senior class, the brotherhood. And, people throw that word around, but I can honestly, the brotherhood, the relationships they have on and off the field has been remarkable since elementary school. These guys, playing sports together, but just hanging out together. Typically, usually it's my house on Sundays where I have all the kids here, and my food bill is quite eat all these kids. And it was easier when they were younger, but now that they're a little older, by halftime of the 1 o'clock games, it's we're out of food. But
Yeah.
Back on topic, yeah, definitely the brotherhood that they have, the friendship they have, the joking around. when my son was doing this journey, I said, you're going to remember a lot of things on Friday nights, definitely. But I said, the brotherhood that you develop in that locker room is going to carry with you forever.
Mm-hmm.
The trophy championships, yes. Who wouldn't want to win a trophy championship, district title, this and that? But inside that field house, the memories, they will have forever. I still have them with the guys that I played with.
Right. So, regardless of how this season does end for you guys, do you guys consider this a successful season?
I mean, without a doubt. I spoke about it before. Again, just an opportunity for the third time in school history to be, in this situation. Anytime you're part of school history, it's remarkable. And again, individualizing, looking at my son, he went from being in the student section last year to starting to then week 2 having 125 yards and a touchdown to, winning district title to winning first round of states. Now, the checking out boxes week after week here is, remarkable. He'll know it'll always be I wish I played 4 years. I wish I played 3 years. I wish 2 years, but you can never think that way. He's here this year. He's doing everything Coach Armstrong and the rest of the guys have asked of him. And you live with the results, so
Right.
either here Friday night again, against Troy, it's absolutely remarkable season, historic season. And it continues to build that foundation of the Viking pride way, Smash Mouth football.
So you guys had a really great game yesterday. 6 turnovers defensively. What was the attitude going into that game?
Watching the boys, talking, getting a report, talking with them and stuff like that, it goes back to legacies of football, though, that Coach Armstrong is bringing to the table now. Even when Coach Armstrong was there, the 97-98 team, even when we didn't have successful seasons with the wins, it was you always knew you played Riverside football because it was smash mouth. All 11 guys rallied to the ball. And you're seeing that more and more now. It's 11 guys rallying to the ball. One's tackling, somebody's punching. And that's how we got the ball, consecutively times, throughout yesterday. That's, I believe, Chase, actually, our quarterback, quoted yesterday in the news, I believe in 2 games, 8-9 turnovers. That's remarkable. I mean, that's video game like for a defense.
Yeah.
Defense is absolutely what led the way yesterday to yesterday's victory. Those turnovers led to points. And, this time of the year, Coach Armstrong said it in one of his interviews as well. The ball is a program. The ball doesn't hit the ground. Take care of the program. And the guys all, they took care of the ball. I mean, it was showing on offense. We took care of the ball, scored the points when we had to, but defense is definitely what led to a victory.
For sure. So talk about just Coach Armstrong in general. I mean, obviously he's had a lot of success over the years, and just like what kind of like mentality and like I would say toughness that he brings to that team.
Yeah, without a doubt, Coach Armstrong is definitely a guy we know he's an offensive genius. Again, having that background as well, being with that 97 team, the crew that he is with and stuff like that. Each year has carried over to different, individuals. We've had a lot of individuals at Riverside with a lot of success. You see the records being broke. Now we're seeing the team success as well. And they're all, tributes to Coach Armstrong is what he's brought to the table. And the guys have just believed, you know what I mean? They're believing into the program. They're believing in Coach Armstrong's way, and you're seeing that,
Yeah. Go ahead, Dan.
Sorry. What is the kind of the vibe around the town now that you guys are having a successful football season where you guys are now going to probably play Troy, I think, next week? And you have basketball coming up, and Riverside's traditionally a really good basketball program. What is the vibe in the town, and what's the atmosphere like?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. We're all excited. I'm blessed, individually. I have a daughter who plays basketball as well, who's been very successful and was recently in the media and things of sorts like that. But, we're not looking to basketball just yet. We're having another opportunity playing during Thanksgiving week. It's a great thing. So, having basketball, Richie Kostoff, basketball player playing, football. So, football will be there, basketball will be there, but right now it's football, and it's, we're just, from a community standpoint, it's yeah, we know what the challenge is going to play Troy. You know, anybody that has, you know, an IQ of the game, the sport, we know what Troy has, you know, but, you know, Superintendent Mr. Brennan said it in one of his Facebook. Nobody thought we could beat Southern Columbia in 1997. That was David versus Goliath. You know, you had to believe. It took all parties to believe. You know, Brian Jones punt return, the defense, Joe Kowalski. That team was loaded with talent, but nobody thought they could beat Southern Columbia. And that's the same concept going into this week. We see the guys, Tavion, Chase, Richie. You know, we know who's who. We're Riverside. You know, but they know Troy's. You know, they're for real. But we got to believe, and it starts with today when they were in the film session today.
Right. You mentioned too, like playing like obviously two sports. Do you think that helps athletes more, like on basketball, whatever it is, basketball, football, baseball, anything?
That's a great question. And I think it's absolutely a great question. I think it's on your own philosophy of what you believe, though. You know, I played my senior year of basketball. At that point in time, I knew I was going to Lackawanna. You can't worry about injury and stuff because injuries can occur at any given time. But I knew being 6'5", I was 250 pounds. I knew, you know, wide receiver, tight end was my calling. And I individually planned and focused on my time on football.
Mm-hmm.
I said my daughter just played in the Junior Olympics this year. She's in 8th grade. Very talented basketball player. She ran track this year, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of basketball, though she plays all year long. You know, there's other guys, Jerry Rose, Braden Rose. Those guys play multiple sports, you know, very successful. So I think it's, you know, what your philosophy and what your take on is, because, you know, I see the good and bad on both.
Right. Go ahead,
With your approaching game against Troy, what do you think are going to be the key elements to having another playoff win?
Oh, I touched base on it, believing exactly what Coach Armstrong's statement was. You know, the ball is a program. You know, if you eliminate turnovers, you take care of the ball, and you, on the opposite side, create turnovers and create points off those turnovers, they're keys to success. You know, we also have, you know, on a special teams factor, a kid who can really kick the ball on kickoffs, extra points, and highlight field goals. So, you know, I was always taught, you know, growing up playing football, being involved with a little bit of coaching in my time, is just, you know, you take care of the ball, you got to win 2 out of the 3 phases, you know, has to be. So I think if, you know, believing the community comes out and supports Friday night, the kids have a great week of practice. Coach Armstrong draws up, you know, what he feels is going to be successful for his boys, you know, let it be Friday night, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to talk about, again, best of luck with I hope you guys keep going. Let's see how far this does go. Me and Dan actually have 2 children who had just went to Hershey last year for Holy Cross basketball. So we're kind of like not in the same boat as you, but like we want to see it through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, we talked about, you know, what I did, you know, earlier and stuff like that. You know, individually as you know, where I played and stuff like that. You know, the feeling though, the atmosphere, it's scary. Fridays, because, you know, as a dad, you can't control, you know, this and that. You know, you said you get all the teaching, all the mentoring, this and that. 7 o'clock, you know, it's time to shine. You know, and it's a great feeling as a dad, regardless of what happens this Friday. You know, proud of not just my son, all those boys. You know, all those boys have been at my house for many, many years. Even when football's all done, you know, I'm going to still mentor them. They're still going to be at my house. There's going to be a bond forever. You know, so whatever happens, happens. But, you know, we're definitely, you know, we got a punter's chance. And, you know, that's all it takes, you know.
So what advice are you going to, you know, do you give to some of these kids who stop by your house? You know, I know a lot of the things that we do in our own household. You know, I had a son who played for Dunmore. He was a football player. He's a kicker for Dunmore. And, you know, my son is now a basketball player. We know that we always say to them, it's one game at a time. It's one play at a time. What advice do you give to your children when they're in the games like this?
I have a son and a daughter, so you learn they're two different kids, they're two different players, two different sports and stuff like that. So they both have similar attributes, but they're different in their own way. With my son, it's the mindset, knowing your assignments, completing your assignments. Nobody expects number 15 to be getting targets. So I said, when that ball's in the air, you got to come down with the ball, make plays. Nobody's asking you to be the player that you're not. Just be who you're capable, what you train, and go make a name for yourself. Throughout all the individual success that I've had, he has an opportunity to go state championship. That's remarkable. So being a dad to two different kids, sports and stuff like that, you find out what your kids are, what drives them, what motivates them, and you use that for them to be successful.
I have a question. Ron, if you could go back to like your high school career or even college career, if you had to do something differently, what would it be?
Great question. The answer would be nothing. I am the man I am who today through the good and through the mistakes that I've had in my life. Without those success stories, without those horror stories, I'm not the father I am today, and I'm not the person I am today without those. I know a lot of people go, yeah, I wish I could go back and, from an athletic side, I wish I did this different, I treated this different. Truth be told, I'm 41 years old today. The answer is nothing, because sometimes you got to go through adversity and through the hard times to see the great times. And, I've had a great career, ups and downs. And I think that's what it's about of sports. You got to go through the ups and downs. You can't enjoy championships without being at the bottom.
What advice what advice would you give like the younger athletes that may have made some mistakes, may not have performed as well as they should have, or had those bad games? And how do you get back up? How should they get back up and continue on the trail?
Your mind is your worst enemy. If you think about missing that free throw, if you think about dropping the ball, if you think about your ankle being hurt, good chances all those things you're thinking next are going to occur. This and that. I even tell my own daughter with basketball, it's don't think, just play. Don't think, and usually you're more successful when you're set out to do. When you love the game and you just go out and play, you're successful usually. It's when you start overanalyzing and thinking too much, it's when mistakes start to occur.
Totally true. I remember I was like, I think it was senior year. I came out for track for Lakeland, in a cross country and track. And I think by second week of track season, my foot was hurting me. Side of my foot. I think it was like a stress factor, something that was going on. And I just ran through the whole season. It was like I was 2 miler and stuff like that. 1 miler. I didn't tell the coach. Lakeland was good. We won a 6th straight title that year because I didn't want to, not run. But yeah, I just ignored the pain and ran.
Yeah, something I definitely want to bring up. Just I definitely want to give credit where it's definitely due. One of the coaches at Riverside, that I can't give enough thanks to is Coach Charlie Grande. He was formerly with Coach Duda for many, 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 many years. He actually was the wide receiver coach. He taught me. He developed me, made me ready. I was not ready to go to a Division I program mentally. Was not ready as a man to be in a situation there. Physically gifted, So long story short, Coach Grandi taught me, mentored me to be a student athlete. And, where my story goes with this is, fast forward all this time now, Coach Grandi is one of the, receiver coaches at Riverside, and he's taken my son under his wing as well. And when you have a great support system, you're in line for success. So I'm forever grateful, and Coach Grandi, what he's done for me, and most important, what he's done for my son this season as well.
Dan, do you have that question? Anything you want to?
So the only thing I want to ask Ron is, do you have a prediction for Troy?
Prediction is 7 p.m. Ball's kicked off. Either way, they're going to know they played Viking football. don't look at the scoreboard. If we're on the good side of it, great. If we're not, they're going to know they played a school from Taylor, Pennsylvania, and you're going to have a bunch of Vikings flying to the ball.
Well, we definitely wish you guys the best of luck, and we're rooting for you over here.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. Very much
Yeah,
appreciate
you're welcome. Thank you. Have a good night.
it. Take care, guys.
Bye. Yep. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. I wasn't close.